the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Yenkonko piemu ewo America abruchimemu. Na yako piemu America abruchimemu na the case involving Asante Bekon, ex-Goldman Smack businessman Juma under the erstwhile former President John Dramani Mahamad's administration. Ya charged for bribery and corruption in the United States of America. Ya ujina emrenemu din, which is the federal court in Brooklyn, New York. Na ene wasan kupie mu ewo court. Bloomberg a capture this story, what transpired in court today. Yebeken kind no brofo na ya bomodin say yebechirase ama etiefo atiase. Was say former Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated banker Asante Bekon, who was extradited to New York from the UK to face federal charges that he orchestrated bribes to Ghanaian officials while employed at the investment bank, was at court today. Bekon pleaded not guilty Tuesday afternoon, which is NRA, in federal court in Brooklyn, New York. U.S. Magistrate Judge Vera Scalone agreed to release Bekon on a $600,000 bond, though he will remain under house arrest with electronic monitoring at the Manhattan home of his sister-in-law. Brown Peace, United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Nicole M. Argentieri, Principal Deputy, also an Assistant Attorney General, Head of the Criminal Division, and Christy M. Curtis, Acting Assistant Director in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, New York Field Office, were all in court on Tuesday, which was NRA. NRA Asante Bekon piemu ewo the federal court in Brooklyn, New York, US, in front of magistrate friend Judge Vera Scalone, who pleaded not guilty to the charges. And according to the judge, he released Asante Bekon on a $600,000 bond, although he is still remaining under house arrest with electronic monitoring. Ewo the sister-in-law fear ewo Manhattan. Na penifo mebo mu din nyina ya omo ekabia ewo mu ewo United States emra ehon sem no mu nyina ewo court enra. We say here are some details of what transpired in court after judge got stunned knowing how the grand conspiracy scheme have had a significant impact on the financial standing of his country of birth, Ghana. And the article chiremwa Judge ni awati adwamu Judge Vera Scalone edu bebi na ne ho adwere no sa ne se wo hwe sika twitwiri die ya ewura sa deal yi mu ya. According to the judge, enei ama Ghana nsika sem eto ape ya nipa baako etumi ni abamu penifo kabomu edi oman no sa abanifo sem na. In fact na judge no abopusa na ne ho adwere ni ye. Now, let me refresh your memory. The last time I called to Kwasitan, it was established in court through the charge sheet presented by the prosecution. Say one, Asante Bekon to ya bribes edema government official one. And no dear, sana call document in the kind. And a relative to government official one. Miensa top government officials of Ghana. And 9 the Parliament of Ghana, that is the majority side of Parliament. And some of Kenya between the period of 2012 and 2016. Inti na munim yeka majority ya. Domkua na eko edema womo. Enum na penifo no mo PURC, the Public Utility Regulatory Commission. Ensia na Gridco empenimfo. And so Ministry of Power. Yes, no former President John Dramani Mahamad's na Dr. Kwabena Donko edano omonso emu empenimfo enwatwe no maye no girls of Ministry of Power de no de court nkrata mu no na betuma chichire mu sa ma akro na omoje sesika ne bi ena afi de na etwa to kra na eye empanimfo ya no omoye adwuma ewo the Ministry of Power. I'm talking about the chief directors down to the down. And you know, it was established in court. It says, Kua who doi any nipa who doi were involved in the grander bribery scheme that led to the Ameri power plant deal. Yeah, according to the IMF and the Director General of the World Bank, the country director of the World Bank to Africa, Chirimwa, Emma Omei Afibia, Ebo Ekatwitwiri die. Enti yanko ene details are a PMO ewo the Federal Court in Brooklyn, New York, United States. Information that was read in court, and I remember Bomaden said the king kind of much. I see. On April 29th, 2015, government official 1 emailed Nsem-Pii. Now, on the official documents of the court, the government official 1, a close relative of the President of the Republic of Ghana. And on April 29, 2015, and a government official 1 sent the Nsem-Pii email. And I watch them say, the energy company, Ameri, or more executives, have an intermediary executive, no lazy between the government of Ghana and Ameri. And nipa bi eka ho a proposal changes to the power purchase agreement. Already, the power purchase agreement had been approved by Parliament with the NDC as majority through the taking of bribes that was established in the first court document. Enti Ghana mrasebe kwa jatu mwe no and as our government official 1 way send the email e de koma Nsem-Pii say empanimfo bi esan ye nhyehyeye say the Ghana mrasebe kwa jatu no omo be yen sakraye wo ya enokra de emfa mrasebe dwam kra omo ankasa within themselves no mo propose changes to that power purchase agreement. Now, in response, Nsem-Pii emailed the energy company CEO, reply to the Minister of Power and government of one and the intermediary senior executive. Now, email na was say, I will suggest we keep government official 1 off. Nsem-Pii email of the court. The intermediary executive will take a copy to the President of Ghana immediately. Nsem-Pii email say, in Kebeya, ebe koso munyi official 1. Ya ono oye a close relative to the president no munyi. And Nsem-Pii ka say, sa no ma intermediate executive no enfa a copy of this information and go straight to the office of the president. And farmer Ghana man penyin immediately say proposal no omo fachire aye ya ebe effect changes to the power purchase agreement Ghana mrasebe jatumo yenyi government official 1 na ye relative to the president in free ti emfa katano emfa kokoma Ghana man penyin. On April 29, 2015, the intermediary executive emailed the energy company executives Nsem-Pii and others stating, we have negotiated the attached, that is power purchase agreement, as best as we can. I need an email not later than 10 a.m. my time, giving me the final proposal from the energy company. In response, the energy company chief executive officer stated, the decision will be given during the meeting with the Minister of Power, the President of Ghana, and other executives in Dubai, together with the intermediary senior executive and the PEP. Now, on May 2nd, 2015, government official 1 emailed the energy company executives, the intermediary executive, Nsem-Pii, and others of additional concerns with the power plant project. The energy company CEO responded that government official 1 continues to create problems and should be taken out of the process. The energy company CEO replied that it may not be possible to remove him, adding that the energy company, the PEP, and the intermediary executive should meet with the Minister of Power to discuss any issues. Now, on May 4th, 2015, an energy company executive sent Nsem-Pii and the intermediary executive a list of equipment for the power plant project, copying the energy company's CFO. On May 6, 2015, the intermediary executive forwarded the email to government official 2, adding that he will come by to see him tomorrow. While involved in these negotiations and without informing the subsidiary or the holding company, Nsem-Pii arranged for the energy company to funnel money to the intermediary company to be used to bribe government official 1, government official 2, the Minister of Power, and other executives of the Ministry of Power to win approval for the proposed changed power plant project agreement. The central conspirators in the bribery scheme were 1. Nsem-Pii, 2. The intermediary company executives, 3. The PEP, 4. The energy company executives, 5. Government of Ghana officials. From at least April 2015 through to at least August 2015, Nsem-Pii, the intermediary company executives, the PEP, and the energy company executives planned, implemented, and executed the scheme to bribe government officials. Under the plan scheme, the energy company executives agreed to funnel money to an entity controlled by the intermediary company for Nsem-Pii. And in some instances, Nsem-Pii and the intermediary executive used their own funds to bribe government officials and then sought reimbursement from the energy company. The energy company executives agreed to transfer large blocks of funds at or close to when the government had agreed to significant milestones in the power plant project. These milestones would occur when the Ministry of Power signed the power purchase agreement, when Parliament ratified the power purchase agreement, and when the government provided financing via a government-backed letter of credit for the power plant project. On April 14, 2015, the intermediary senior executive emailed Nsem-Pii an invoice for $500,000 owned by the energy company, along with a schedule for funding the bribery scheme. $1.5 million when the parties signed the power purchase agreement. $1.5 million when the energy company received a letter of credit from the government. $1.5 million when the power plant began operations. Mami Chirimwa. Enunti 14th of April 2015. And an intermediary senior executive in the court document. A executive ojina Ghana buying any the energy company na name on sa kwa na no friend intermediary senior executive or ye Ghana ni free sa brand Ghana buying mu and no na AD between Ghana buying and the energy company or send Nsem-Pii email ni invoices cash so a $500,000 ya a car energy company ni die and now the same email mu no kwan yo me for so mbetua bribe na kwan mo for so mutua bribe ne say ye di kan o medical tuya $1.5 million Ebra Ghana Mrashebedwa any Minister of Power Ebeja tum normal signs our power purchase agreement. Almost sorry no bribe of $1.5 million at the Hobofu train. And another bribe of $1.5 million Ebra Ghana buying I issue letter of credit at the energy company so on go ahead to build the power plant. Now for another bribe of $1.5 million and so assign a to a power plant nankasa ebe show operations and in total 1.5 for Samiensa a $4.5 million. That was captured in the same invoice. Now I also said this energy company krano ya omo build the power plant no omo de cap $500,000. Now obi our dig obi cap $500,000. What is the source of funding for building a power plant for Ghana? If not to say, this is a well-schemed bribery circle. See, I'm fine sure my Ghana Sika. Or say the invoice contained specific instructions for the bribe funds to be wired to the intermediary senior executive Ghana account and a Ghana account of a shell company controlled by another intermediary via a New York correspondent bank. On April 18, 2015, the energy company CFO updated Nsem-Pii and the intermediary executive on the negotiations with the government. Now, email the nation will say, hopefully, once we have the green light tomorrow, we will send the contract for the power plant with all the changes effected without parliament. He added, we are planning to come to Ghana on Monday with an extended team to have meetings with the government electricity company on Tuesday. On April 19, 2015, the intermediary executive again urged Beeko and the energy company CEO for the $500,000 in bribe money because the intended recipient, government official one, is on my case. The intermediary added, I am going to part with $250,000 to government official one on the basis that I will receive the same in due course. This will represent part payment of the bribe as discussed with him. The intermediary executive then pressed to have the $1.5 million also here in Ghana no later than end of this week or early part of the following week because, as agreed, certain payment will be made on signing of the power purchase agreement, and I believe all will be covered if you follow the above guidelines. The energy company CFO quickly agreed to the initial $500,000 fund transfer as bribe to government official one, but expressed some confusion on the schedule. Responding to the intermediary executive and Beeko, he stated, I have an invoice for $500,000. That's what you are referring to, right? To be paid within this week, right? Then $1 million at the signing of the power purchase agreement and $1.5 million at the signing of the letter of credit from the government. He then voiced concern about the lack of information from government official one. Now the concern in your say, why is there no news from government official one about the extension and meeting on Tuesday? Any news you can share? Replying to the energy company CFO and Nsem-Pii that same day, the intermediary executive again emphasized the necessity for the bribe money. And also Chirishi was saying, please proceed as I stated earlier. It is in our interest to make necessaries that they are done now. 500,000 bribe money now. He then reiterated the proposed schedule. I am reminding you again that a bribe of $1 million on the signing of the power purchase agreement, $1.5 million on the signing of the letter of credit, and $1.5 million on the operation of the power plant. As stated, I am getting concerned with government official 1 and his resistance. I have decided to sort him out this week following recent development and would advise that you have the same ready for me immediately upon signature. On May 12, 2015, the intermediary senior executive emailed the intermediary executive an invoice for the energy company to provide an additional $1.5 million of funding that was intended to be used for further bribery schemes. On May 19, 2015, the intermediary executive forwarded the invoice for $1.5 million to the energy company CEO for payment. When or soon after this invoice was sent, Nsem-Pii also knew or was reckless in not knowing that the funds requested by the intermediary company were used or were to be used to bribe government officials to approve the power plant project. On May 22, 2015, the energy company wired $1.5 million to the intermediary company. These funds were wired from the energy company's bank account in Turkey through a New York-based correspondent bank to a shell company bank account in Ghana under the control of government official 1. On May 26, 2015, the energy company CEO emailed the intermediary executive a copy of bank document confirming the payment of the bribe. On May 28, 2015, the President of the Republic also received $30,000 from the same bank account into which the energy company had transferred the $1.5 million and which the intermediary company used to facilitate the bribery scheme. On June 11, 2015, Nsem-Pii received $75,000 from the same bank account into which the energy company transferred the $1.5 million and which the intermediary company used to facilitate the bribery scheme. On 17th July 2015, the Ghanaian Parliament finally ratified the power purchase agreement, another of the milestones that triggered additional funding for the bribery scheme. The same day, intermediary employee 1 forwarded Nsem-Pii's bank account information and fund transfer instructions to the intermediary executive with the note: Beeko, payment $33,800. Beeko planned to use these funds to bribe or to reimburse himself for bribes already made to government officials, including members of parliament on the majority side, to advance the power plant project. At a point, a dispute arose between Nsem-Pii and the intermediary senior executive concerning the amount of funding the energy company was obligated to provide to the intermediary company. In particular, the intermediary senior executive claimed that the energy company had agreed to fund $5 million for the bribery scheme and demanded a $1.5 million milestone payment of that agreed amount. Nsem-Pii, however, maintained that the energy company had only agreed to a fund of a total of $3 million and that no more funds were due. Email communications on July 20th, 2015 documented this dispute. On August 4th, 2015, the intermediary executive emailed the energy company CEO requesting another $250,000 to be paid as bribe to government official 1, whom he noted is also waiting for the holy rain and would appreciate it sooner rather than later. On August 17, 2015, the intermediary executive again forwarded to the energy company CEO his August 4, 2015 email requesting the $250,000 in bribe money, stating, "Please find as discussed." The energy company CEO answered, copying Belkon, asking for details of this request and that he would check it with the energy company CFO. On October 19, 2015, the energy company transferred $250,000 to the intermediary company. The energy company wired the funds from its bank account in Turkey through a New York-based correspondent to the bank account of intermediary employee. A copy of bank transfer information was contemptuously emailed to the intermediary executive. For example, on August 28, 2015, the intermediary executive invoiced the energy company executives $210,000 for substantial payments made in furtherance of the bribery scheme and asked that they kindly perform your magic. These payments include A $10,000 payment to government official 2. B, 3 payments of $20,000 each, amounting to $60,000 in total to various employees at the Ministry of Power, the government utility company, and the government power grid company. C, $25,000 to the power team, employees of various government agencies responsible for power-related projects. D, $30,000 for members of the Ghanaian Parliament on the majority side, which is the NDC. E, $35,000 for Asante Belkon. F, $45,000 for employees of various government agencies that visited Turkey to assess the power plant project. E, an offering of $105,000 to government official 1. G, government utility company employees. Some received as high as $120,000, $100,000, and as low as $20,000, $45,000, $30,000. The power team was very receptive after the agreement for the payment of these bribes. There were 8 in all. Average payment made to each of the employees was $30,000. The number of times we have visited the government power grid company and the number of engineers we have interacted with, each time they were sorted out to make sure we got the correct information and assistance for our company. Each of the engineers were tipped with $5,000. In turn, Asante Belkon proposed an offering of $140,000 to the chief director of the Ministry of Power and the minister at the Ministry of Power. And to weigh a document number 2 on the charge sheet. Ya ene, said the Makinken ya. The prosecution led by Brian Peace, ya United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Ekinkanye, Ewo, the Federal Court in Brooklyn, New York. Ya enunti ema Magistrate Judge Vera Scalon, editor just said, such a grand scheme, ya a negative significant impact on the financial standing of a certain country. Etumi akoso bra nipa wo di animu no, that same country is the country of his birth, but ehu bia ankan. So court besan akwa setra yankopon ya adomo the 18th of September 2024 Nsem-Pii TV yani de besi bia ye de bebro